Football is bigger than ever. The Premier League is a global powerhouse, watched by millions around the world, generating record revenues and attracting the biggest names in the game. But for many traditional fans, something has been lost along the way. In this video, we'll dive into the modern frustrations of the traditional English football fan, from skyrocketing ticket prices to the rise of football tourism, from so-called plastic fans to the growing influence of social media and the voices that dominate the conversation. We'll explore how the evolution of the modern game has changed the experience for those who grew up with it and ask the question: is the Premier League still the league of the people, or has it become just another commercial product, focused solely on global appeal? Before the formation of the Premier League, being a football fan in England was a completely different experience. It was a sport deeply rooted in working-class culture, passed down through generations. Saturdays were sacred. Fans would get up in the morning, grab a few pints at the local pub, then head to the ground with their mates or family. Ticket prices were affordable, meaning almost anyone could go, from factory workers to school kids. Stadiums were packed to the brim with fans who could attend with nothing more than pocket change in their hands. The stadiums themselves weren't the pristine, polished arenas of today. They were raw, loud, and full of character. Standing terraces were the norm, with fans crammed together, singing, chanting, and creating an atmosphere that could be both electrifying and intimidating. The experience was deeply local. Most supporters lived within the community of the club they followed, fostering a strong sense of belonging. But it wasn't perfect. Facilities were outdated, hooliganism was rife, and English football lagged behind Europe financially. There was passion, but the game needed modernization. What no one could have predicted, however, was just how much would change. The turning point came in 1991, when Greg Dyke, the director of London Weekend Television, LWT, chaired a meeting with representatives from England's biggest clubs: Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, Everton, and Tottenham. These clubs believed they weren't getting their fair share of TV revenue and saw an opportunity to change that. Across the Atlantic, the NFL had mastered the art of selling sports as entertainment, and Dyke, along with club executives, saw a similar potential for English football. They envisioned a slicker, more marketable league, one that could maximize commercial appeal and attract global audiences. In 1992, the clubs broke away from the Football League, backed by a lucrative TV deal with Sky Sports, and the Premier League was born. The Old English First Division was effectively relegated, and the new Top Flight became a separate entity, giving clubs full control over their broadcasting revenues. But this wasn't just a name change, it was a revolution. With millions pouring in from exclusive TV rights, clubs could now afford the best players, upgrade facilities, and transform English football into a worldwide spectacle. The first ever Premier League season kicked off in August 1992, and from that moment, football in England would never be the same again. So how has Premier League football affected the matchday experience? Well, straight off the bat, ticket prices have skyrocketed since the league's inception in 1992, making it increasingly difficult for traditional fans to attend games. In the early 90s, ticket prices were relatively affordable. Manchester United fans could get a matchday ticket for as little as £7.50, while Arsenal's average ticket was around £10.50. A season ticket at Liverpool in 1992 could be purchased for £250. Fast forward to today, and the cost of attending a game has risen dramatically, with top clubs charging significantly more. For example, Arsenal's cheapest season ticket now costs over £1,000. This massive increase has priced out many working-class fans who traditionally filled the stands, leading to frustration and resentment. It's not just the tickets. Fans also feel the squeeze in the club shop, where an adult shirt that cost between £30 to £40 as recently as the late 2000s now costs over £90 for the latest jersey. This has led to a surge in fans buying counterfeit shirts at a fraction of the price from Chinese websites. This frustration has boiled over into fan protests, with movements like Stop Exploiting Loyalty calling out clubs for treating supporters as cash cows. Groups such as the Football Supporters Association have campaigned for more affordable ticketing, but clubs argue that rising costs are necessary due to player wages, stadium improvements, and commercial expansion. Adding to the frustration is the resale market, where tickets often get snapped up by secondary sellers and resold at extortionate prices, further limiting access for genuine fans. As a result, atmospheres at bigger clubs have declined, with home stadiums turning into sterile spectacles where away fans often make more noise. Ultimately, many believe the modern Premier League experience has shifted away from its roots. What was once an affordable game for local communities has transformed into a global entertainment product, catering to corporate clients and tourists rather than lifelong supporters. Fans continue to push back, but with the league's financial success showing no signs of slowing, the battle for affordable football remains an uphill struggle. The increasing costs, combined with the league's global popularity, has brought more tourist fans into stadiums, a divisive topic among English football supporters. These fans, often referred to in a somewhat derogatory manner as plastic fans or glory hunters, are blamed for taking tickets away from local supporters and contributing to weaker atmospheres at Premier League games. English football has traditionally been staunchly local and tribal. While this may not be unique, it explains the negative connotations surrounding so-called plastic football fans. Traditionally, if you were from Birmingham, you supported Birmingham City or Aston Villa. If you were from Liverpool, you were either a Liverpool or Everton fan. If you were born in Sheffield, you followed Wednesday or United. Supporting a club outside of your town wasn't unheard of, but it became far more common during the Premier League era. One of the great things about English football is that there are 92 professional teams spread across 4 leagues, along with hundreds of semi-professional clubs from steps 5 to 12. This means fans have endless opportunities to follow a local team at whatever level. So, what defines a plastic fan? Simply put, it's someone who is not regarded as a genuine or loyal supporter, typically someone who started supporting a club purely because of its success, rather than any local or personal connection. It's closely linked to glory hunting, a concept viewed negatively by many English football supporters, even within their own fan base. When people think of plastic fans, it usually depends what era you were born in, but to speak of the very first club to earn that label, the team that often comes to mind is Manchester United. While Liverpool and Arsenal had large followings, United were the first English club to truly go global. They had always been a big club, but under Sir Alex Ferguson, they became the dominant force in English football. The class of '92, featuring players like David Beckham, Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes, helped define the Premier League era. Their success, combined with the league's commercial explosion, transformed United into the first truly global English club. Beckham, in particular, became a phenomenon. His blend of talent, charisma, and marketability made him a household name across continents. His influence in Japan, China, and the United States helped Manchester United reach audiences that had never previously followed English football. Their 98-99 Champions League triumph, securing a historic treble, cemented United's status as the world's biggest club. As United's dominance continued into the early 2000s, the way people supported football changed. More and more fans around the world began identifying as United supporters, not because they had any connection to Manchester, but simply because United were the best team at the time. This was when the plastic fan label became widespread. For the first time, an English club had a majority of its fan base located outside its home country. To some, this was marketing genius, but for local fans, it came at a price. Old Trafford became a tourist hotspot, filled with supporters who had traveled miles, sometimes even crossing continents, to watch a game. The shift was so stark that United captain Roy Keane famously criticized sections of the crowd, branding them the Prawn Sandwich Brigade, for their lack of atmosphere. As the Premier League continued to grow, this pattern repeated itself with other clubs. In 2003, Roman Abramovich bought Chelsea, and almost overnight, they went from a good domestic side to one of the richest clubs in the world. With their sudden rise came a new wave of supporters, along with inevitable accusations of plastic fandom. Meanwhile, across Manchester, United's local rivals Manchester City had long been seen as a sleeping giant. While they had moments of success, they largely lived in United's shadow. Within Manchester, City arguably had the stronger local support, but their following outside of the area was sparse, and they liked it that way. Even as recently as 2011, the club sold this shirt in their club shop, taking a dig at United's globalized fan base and pointing to City being the club of local people of Manchester. For years, City prided itself on catering to Manchester's working-class population, contrasting United's champagne football that attracted tourists and corporate fans. United mocked City for lacking panache, while City mocked United for having a fan base filled with people who had never been to Manchester. But after Sheikh Mansour's takeover in 2008 and years of dominance under Pep Guardiola, City found themselves facing the same accusations they once hurled at their rivals. Their global fan base skyrocketed during this period of unprecedented success, and the club's traditional supporters struggled to adjust. In 2024, City's 1894 supporters group accused the club of prioritizing commercial revenue over atmosphere. They even approached the club to request they become anchor tenants of the new North Stand in order to improve the Etihad Stadium's overall matchday experience. Comparing this to other sports, the NFL is increasingly popular in the UK, with each team drawing a dedicated UK-based fan base, something that is largely embraced by stateside supporters. In contrast, English football fans are far more tribal. While clubs like City, United, Chelsea, and Arsenal actively encourage international support, many of their local fans resent new followers, seeing them as bandwagoners who only support the club due to recent success. It remains a divisive issue. While some welcome the global reach of the Premier League, others argue that clubs have lost their identity by prioritizing commercial expansion over traditional supporters. In truth, no club is immune from the influence of foreign fans, but the tension between local and global support continues to shape the modern Premier League experience. Before we move on, if you enjoy retro football, please consider giving us a like and a subscribe. We've got retro goals, stories, football sticker memories, and much more. For now, let's carry on. In the past, football discussions were local affairs, debates in the pub, arguments at work, and heated conversations in the stands. The people leading the discussions were match-going fans who had experienced the highs and lows firsthand. But that's changed. Today, the loudest voices in football often aren't the ones inside the stadiums, but rather social media influencers who have built entire platforms around their opinions. Figures like Mark Goldbridge, the characters of Arsenal Fan TV, and countless others have redefined how football is talked about. These aren't traditional journalists or former players, they're personalities who have used YouTube and other platforms to become some of the most influential voices in the sport. Their reach is enormous, millions of followers, instant reactions to every game, and the ability to shape narratives that spread across the globe. This shift has led to an influx of non-match-going fans dominating the online space. Look at any comment section on British football social media, whether it's an official club page, a fan-run account, or mainstream outlets like Sky Sports or BBC Sport. A huge portion of the responses now come from fans who have never been to a game and likely never will. And this is where friction begins. Match-going fans and online fans often have vastly different perspectives. The traditional fan, the one who spends hundreds or even thousands following their team up and down the country, might have very different frustrations from someone who has only ever engaged with the sport through a screen. Tactical discussions, transfer rumors, and debates over which player is world-class tend to dominate online conversations, while match-going fans often focus more on decisions that directly impact their experience. There's also a cultural disconnect. Many online fans consume football differently, sometimes even supporting multiple teams or following players rather than clubs. To a local supporter, who might have inherited their club allegiance through generations, this can feel alien. The passion, the pain, the deep-rooted tribalism, things that define English football culture, can feel diluted in the global online space. This is why social media has created a divide between the traditional fan base and the wider global audience. English fans often feel their opinions are diluted by the influx of online voices from overseas, and that collectively, these opinions can overshadow and smother the actual genuine true opinions of the traditional fan base. It's not necessarily about who is a real fan, but about the shift in how the game is followed, discussed, and experienced. The internet has given everyone a voice in football, but not everyone has lived it the same way. And for those who have spent their lives in the stands, it's hard to accept that their voices are now just one of millions in an ever-expanding, often disconnected global debate. The Premier League has experienced an extraordinary surge in global viewership since its inception in 1992, evolving from a primarily domestic competition into the most-watched football league in the world. In its early years, its international reach was relatively modest, with broadcasts limited to select overseas markets. However, as the league's popularity grew, so did its global footprint. The turning point came in the late 1990s, as the Premier League capitalized on its growing appeal, expanding its broadcasting reach to millions of households worldwide. Between 1997 and 2001, the league's broadcasting rights were valued at £670 million, a dramatic increase from the £304 million deal, covering the first 5 years between 1992 and 1997, which had been exclusively secured by Sky Sports and the BBC for highlights. The 2000s saw this growth accelerate further, as major broadcasters such as ESPN, Star Sports, Canal+, and Fox Sports began competing for rights in international markets. With football becoming increasingly commercialized and the Premier League's brand strengthening, its ability to secure lucrative TV deals was key to its rapid expansion. Between 2013 and 2016, the league was generating over £3 billion annually from broadcasting rights alone, with Sky Sports and BT Sport leading the domestic coverage, while global networks like NBC Sports, beIN Sports, and SuperSport ensured worldwide accessibility. This unprecedented level of revenue meant that even mid-table Premier League clubs could financially compete with top teams from other European leagues. As of the 23-24 season, the Premier League is broadcast in 212 territories, reaching 643 million homes and a staggering potential TV audience of 4.7 billion people. So how does this work for English fans? If you're not from the UK, you might be surprised to learn that English football fans cannot legally watch a live Premier League match on TV if it kicks off at the traditional time of 3 p.m. on a Saturday. This is due to the 3 p.m. blackout, a rule designed to protect matchday attendances by preventing fans from opting to stay at home or watch in the pub instead of going to the stadium. Watching football legally in the UK is also becoming increasingly expensive. Unlike in some countries, there are no free-to-air Premier League games. A Sky Sports subscription costs around £20 per month, ironically reduced in price recently due to the rise in people using illegal streams via Amazon Fire Stick apps. However, many fans still find this too expensive, especially since Premier League rights are now split across multiple broadcasters, with TNT Sports and Amazon Prime also holding rights to matches. Fans need several different subscriptions just to follow their team from home. As a result, many English fans resort to streaming matches via foreign sports channels, often using VPNs or unofficial methods. To watch legally, fans can expect to pay upwards of £60 per month, a cost that continues to rise. Football has always been rooted in local identity, but the modern game has blurred those lines. Rising ticket prices, corporate interests, and football tourism have made it harder for traditional fans to keep the game affordable and accessible. Social media and global fandom have also reshaped how clubs are supported, sometimes creating tensions between local supporters and international fans. But at its core, football is a game for everyone, no matter where you're from, how you support, or how you experience it. The challenge is finding a balance that keeps the sport inclusive while preserving the passion and traditions that make it special. What do you think? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more football content.